Hello YouTubers, welcome to the PC Lover 81 channel. Today I thought we'd do something a little different. My vacation's winding down, but I still have a few more days left, so I thought we'd jump in front of the camera this time. And actually brought Mom over. She's off from work today too, as we have about 50 inches of snow out on the ground. Actually, I think it's probably more like 10 inches, but what would you say, Mom? We got about 10, 12 inches of snow out there?
Oh, about that, I think so.
Yeah, probably about 10, 12 inches of snow. It's just a wet, heavy snow. Got that mess all done today, so, you know, we're into the afternoon hours, so I figure, what the hey, let's sit down and do a YouTube video. Do something a little different here, maybe go over some questions that different members have inboxed me with or even commented on in my videos. So, Mom's got the questions back there on a little list, and she's going to ask them as soon as we're ready to go. So I guess we go ahead and start asking the questions, Mom.
Okay, a lot of questions come about on his YouTube. Number one question, how much RAM should I have in my computer?
Okay, that depends on what you're doing with a computer. The more intense applications you use, the more gaming you do, video rendering, the more windows you want to open on a computer. Obviously now we have tab browsing, so that helps a little bit. But as you open more windows within the operating system, you're using more memory. So if you have your web browser open, so let's say you're open, I've got you, Mom, at the computer, and we're showing you how to do email and stuff like we had you do, or even like a Facebook page we had you do on the laptop a few weeks ago. Now, if you want to keep that Facebook page open, but let's say in the background you have a CD in there. You downloaded a piece of software for a friend. You want to copy it to a CD. You have that program open. You're burning a CD, and let's say on the other page, you have another window open and you're doing eBay. The more windows you open, the more tasks you do, the more memory you're going to use. So, in a computer, you have base memory, you have cache memory, then you have random access memory, and then once you run out of random access memory, the system's on its knees and it starts hitting the hard drive. So, the more intense you are with applications, keeping multiple programs open and running at one time, the more RAM you will need. Operating systems wise, XP, we're not going to worry about XP because XP support cycle ends April the 8th. So, right now we'll worry about Windows 7. Windows 7 32-bit, I would say minimum, you want to have at least 2 gigs of RAM in the machine, because you really can't, the system can't use more than about 3.5, I believe it is. I think it's like 3.37 gigs of RAM in a 32-bit machine. If you bump up to 64, I'd say with RAM being what it is right now, if you can put 8 gigs in the system, that's good. If you can bump it up to 16, that's even better. Beyond that, you're talking about hardcore gamers and people doing really super intensive stuff. So hopefully that's a good answer to that question, and that helps out.
Okay, folks, question number 2. How fast of a CPU should I have?
Again, these work hand in hand in tandem with the RAM. Obviously, if you're a hardcore gamer, you're going to want a faster CPU because you're going to want the frame rates good, and that will work in tandem with both the RAM and the video card you have in your machine. Processor is very important. Uploading this video, when I get done doing this video and we upload it to YouTube, there's an editing process I go through before I upload it. When I go through and hit the button for it to start editing and making the changes that I make, because I'm going to put a little welcome screen and then there's a credit screen at the end of each video that I do. When we do that, and I hit the button on the screen to start the editing process, you can see right away, on this little dual-core Athlon 64 machine, the system will be on its knees trying to upload it, because it's not as powerful as that quad-core Phenom machine I have over on the other wall over there. So I use that machine to do the editing process, and then we're on a broadband connection, so it'll upload the video really fast. So obviously, if you're doing video editing or you're a hardcore gamer, you want a fast CPU. You're just looking for a music machine or a daily use machine, this 7-year-old computer still does the job for internet browsing, music, watching movies, simple basic things. So that's the answer to that.
Okay, what are multiple cores?
Okay, that's a question that comes in quite a bit. Multiple cores is where you take a CPU, which is one little chip, and inside of that chip there are multiple, what they call multiple cores. That gives you, in a sense, that gives that chip the ability, if they say dual core, quad core. A dual core, basically, in this system here, you would have one physical core and one logical core. But you would have a CPU that would give you the equivalent. You would basically be able to do the equivalent of having a system with 2 single-core chips in it. Now, for instance, this workstation machine here has 2 CPUs in it, 2 individual separate CPUs. Now, hypothetically, let's say they were single-core, okay, single-core CPUs. This one over here, being a dual-core CPU, could do approximately the same type of work at the same time as this machine, if they were equal in front-side bus, cache characteristics, clock speed, that sort of thing. They would be able to do about the same thing. The one thing you want to watch for, some of the companies will say 8 cores CPU, and it's actually 4 physical cores and 4 logical cores. So for the hardcore gamers that, maybe they might want an Intel chip as opposed to an AMD chip, because AMD's 8 core is actually 4 physical cores and 4 logical cores. Not really into the Intel Core i7s yet. I still have to do more research on them and get myself up to date on them a little bit. But for right now, the really super duper high-end stuff, I think probably a Core i7 would be good for the gamers. But the AMD 8 core, I have one upstairs in my room. It's excellent running, very powerful chip. I have no complaints with it.
Okay, what is an SSD?
SSD, that's a solid-state drive. I don't have one down here with me, but let's see here. I think I got rid of my hard drives too. They're upstairs. In a normal mechanical hard drive, you actually have moving parts inside of the drive. With a solid-state drive, think about like a piece of flash memory, Mom, like you may remember when we bought your granddaughter the tablet over the winter time. We put a little piece of flash memory in there to upgrade it, to give it more memory, so she could store more pictures and more movies on it. That's pretty much how a solid-state drive works. It uses a memory technology with no moving parts, as opposed to mechanical drive where you have parts moving and spinning. And depending upon the type of memory technology you use, it can be up to 4, sometimes even 5 times fast on a boot up as a mechanical drive. Very, very good piece of equipment to have in a computer. Highly recommend it by me.
Okay, my next question pertains to video cards. What video card is the best one for my system?
Depends on what you're doing with your system. If you're an average everyday person just doing web browsing and Facebook or whatever, and YouTube, you probably don't need a really powerful video card. So it's really based on needs. If you're a high-end gamer, I would look at some of the higher-end Radeon cards and the NVIDIA cards. You want to look at RAM. You want to look at the type of RAM, because there are still some companies out there still selling cards at DDR3 RAM. Get the one with DDR5 if you can get it. Much better. your frame rates would be better, and you'd have much better performance with it.
Okay. What do you like better, the AMD or the Intel?
Well, let me just state right now, I do not work for AMD or Intel, nor am I a shareholder in either company. Intel, we'll start with them, and I'll be brief. I like the cooling characteristics of an Intel processor. I have never had one overheat on me. I've never had heat problems with them. AMD, I just feel like you can get more performance for the buck. I tend to do a lot more computer videos with AMD chips. I love them. It's, in my opinion, a comparable chip. So I tend to lean towards AMD, but both of them have their good points.
Okay. What makes your channel different than others?
Okay. I think this right here is what makes my channel different than others. Now, obviously, anybody with a YouTube channel can do whatever they want, but we took the time here to answer some questions today and try to maybe kind of point people in the right direction as far as the videos. I made up my mind when I decided to start doing this back in June that if, how could I have a how-to channel or a build channel and not expect the occasional question once in a while? Me personally, my channel, I don't feel that I would have any business having a channel and not expect that every once in a while. So as long as the viewers understand that I work a full-time job, and that I will try to help them out as best I can, sometimes there might be times when I can't answer the questions because there's just not the time to do the research. Sometimes it might just be, maybe I'm not feeling well, life happening, life's happens or whatever. But, I will always try to do the best I can to try and point the viewers in the right direction. And I think that's what, makes me a little bit different than others. There's a lot of good channels out there, and we're all allowed to do, we do whatever we want as long as we comply with YouTube rules. But, I think that's what makes me a little bit different.
Okay. Being I'm mom, I already know the answer to the next question, folks, but you guys would probably like to know. How long have you been working on PCs?
Okay. Started actually working with them back in 1996 when Dad first hooked up with his third wife. We went to her parents' house, and her dad had a old 486, I believe it was a 486, I think a DX system, big beige box with the sat flat with the big giant tube style monitor on top of it, and Windows 3.1 I think it had on it. It didn't even have 95 on it. And I remember sitting down and going on AOL for the first time, and "You've got mail," and that crazy stuff that it used to say when you would sign on. I just remember it being a lot more advanced than the old Commodore system that Uncle Marty had years ago, that my Uncle Marty had. And it was a lot more fun. I decided to start working on them in '99 when some friends of ours started me with that HP system. Actually, I think the power button went bad, so we went to the computer shop and got another case that would accommodate an ATX board, and we put it in there. And from that point forward, I said, okay, I'm going to do this stuff myself. I already had an electronics background, so from that point forward, I've been working on them ever since. And sometimes I get in so deep, I'm up just about to the point of my head with them, but it's a lot of fun. And here we are. What's it, about 15 years now since I started actually working on them. So altogether, probably close to 20 years now that I've been working with them. About 15 years I've been working on them, and I got certified actually in '06, so 8 years I've been certified now. So it's been a lot of fun, and I hope to continue doing it many, many, many years into the future. So hopefully the technology doesn't get too crazy, so I'm not a big fan of these tablet things. So That's pretty much the answer to that one. So anyway, I guess that's going to conclude our little video for today. Thank you again, Mom, for helping me out with the questions, and hopefully to you, the viewers, hopefully this answers some of the questions, and you know, we'll have more videos coming in the future. I actually just bought the next system we're going to work on, the next project computer, today. It should be coming in sometime next week. It's going to be a Dell Inspiron 560, and we'll start doing videos on that. We'll get one as soon as it comes in, show you what we're working with. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.